I think it's a great way to show parents, hey, this is our diligence in the pursuit of your son because we believe in this partnership that we're about to embark on. Because when we prepare your son and he's here, whether it be for an upcoming test, a paper he's got to turn in, a community service event, an upcoming game, that we do go the extra mile, that every single detail is attended to so that they always have the best chance at being successful. So that approach and staying relentless with that, and being just very, I would say, engaged as a program. It's not just one person recruiting a guy. Making sure that everyone's involved and that you're genuine. That this thing right here, if you're not genuine with this right here, it's not going to work. And our people are very passionate because they have a very strong belief from our administration, our university, the community itself, that the progress of Miami and the direction and the trajectory of the University of Miami football program is something that is going that way and is unstoppable. So that it's awesome to be a part of, and I think they feel that. And I think that's what's brought all this stuff together, and an honest and diligent approach usually pays off pretty well, and so far, so good. I'm a little bit excited, man, so I'm probably going off on a couple of tangents, but hopefully that answers your question.
Mario, what did you add on the defensive line? If you could speak on that group, maybe specifically also about Justin and Marquise, but all the guys in particular.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll go down the list here. My man Cam prepares so many sheets, It's like quality control stuff, and he knows that my eyes are getting worse by the year, so he labels them up top like that. Ain't that something? Where do you start off there? I mean, you could start off on the interior, Justin Scott and Artavius Jones, about as explosive as you can be for a big man. These are wide bodies that are great athletes as well. One, a state weightlifting champ. The other guy is playing basketball, which I had a chance to go see the other day at an invitational out there in Chicago. We have had great defensive linemen from Chicago before, right? If anyone remembers Russell Maryland, old teammate, my brother's roommate back in the day, first overall pick. Well, Justin is a massive man, extremely athletic, great family, awesome mom, great student, great high school. Just if you want to get an idea for his athletic ability, turn on his film, watch him run the football. There are no plans for him here to run the football, but in high school, watch him run the ball 330 pounds is a pretty good indication of the type of athlete that he is. And Artavius is a freak of nature as it relates to strength and power. Here's a guy that at that age, I believe he's 17 years old now, is already benching in the neighborhood of 425, 450 pounds and can squat 600 plus. Okay. That being said, he plays with that strength too. Sometimes it doesn't transfer over. It does for him. Two awesome young men, powerful, big, strong. And then going right down the line, Marquise Lightfoot, as explosive, as athletic as you can have off the edge. And all these guys are similar with their traits. All these guys are relentless. All these guys play with a high motor. They're really good technically, and that's our job to get them better here. But they're long, explosive bodies. Marquise joining us from Chicago as well, one of the better defensive ends in the country. Cole McConaughey, right up the road in Mobile right there. Another guy that we identified on film as a guy that really fits our DNA, really fits what we do defensively in that edge position. Our edges are come in the form of defensive ends and jack linebackers. They're interchangeable depending on what the offense is showing us. Explosive, tough, physical, tremendous growth potential. Dalen Russell, right down the street from Columbus, one of the best players in Dade County, one of the best defensive players in the state of Florida, for that matter, that led that team to a state title. Mother, University of Miami, alum, awesome people, awesome family. I got some more guys coming up here. Elias Rudolph, 6'4.5", probably more on his way to 6'5", a little bit thin at 215, 220, but as talented as it gets. And another guy plays with an unbelievable motor. This guy he's what you want coming off the edge. He was a little bit injured this past year, so he didn't get the amount of reps and the statistical data that you usually get with a guy that plays his position. But certainly he's a guy we're super excited about. Booker Pickett, sounds familiar, right? Played here. He plays both. He's going to be a will linebacker for us, but also has third down snap value at the defensive end or the edge position. Just a natural pass rusher, can flat out go. All right, one of the premier guys in the country. Blessed to have him here. I always tell the guys, I was recruited as a brother of somebody, and I was like, hey man, am I being recruited because you like me or because I'm going to help, sell more tickets to the Latin population in town, right? All right, I want to be recruited because I want to be a player here. He was recruited independently of his ties to his father. Great football player. We talked about Elias. We talked about Cole. We talked about Dalen, Justin, Marquise, Artavius, 3, 4, 5, 6. Did I get 7? Okay. With 26 people, you got to help me out if I miss one, man. I don't want to call tonight from a parent telling me I didn't talk about their son. Okay. I think that covers the defensive lineman.
Juan Patterson,
yes.
Just getting here in January, obviously, two safeties off to the NFL. You guys have developed freshmen super well. Do you see him as someone come in, do all the right things, and potentially help you guys?
Yeah. Well, that's the best thing. When these guys get here, we impress upon them how important it is for them to be professional about everything that they do. Unfortunately, nowadays, and fortunately, because of the transfer portal, the movement in college football, the unpredictability of rules changes, you're a freshman, have to be ready to play. So they almost have to bypass the immaturity of freshman year and get right to it, okay? Zaquan is an absolute stud, top to bottom. As a competitor, as a physical presence, as someone who represents himself and his family extremely well. I think a lot of you guys have seen him play in person, and his value not only as a safety, but also in the form of a special teams player. He is all over the field all the time. He sets a tone for that team in a couple different ways with his captain status, the way he verbally approaches his teammates, but also the way he sets a tone physically. He's a tone setter with the way he plays the game. His style of play is something really impressive.
Kind of going off somewhat, Gabby just asked, you guys had so many freshmen play important roles for you guys. Did you find that resonated a lot out on the recruiting trail this year?
I think so. It just validates what we've been saying. We always said, hey, we got to come in, we have to restructure the roster, and then we have to build, and then we're going to progress, and we're going to become competitive, and then we're going to become pretty good, and then we're going to become really, really good. And along those lines, they see that we're doing it through a little bit of everything, and a lot of it being development of our football players. And so sometimes programs are built not solely, but for the most part through the transfer portal, and then some others are built mostly through high school classes and maybe a couple of junior college acquisitions, and we like to have a pretty good blend of both, but primarily we want to be a developmental program, and these guys, they've been told when they come in January, they got to be ready. They got to be ready to compete. They got to be ready to fit in and adapt to a culture that's going to demand the most of them in turn to make them the best that they can possibly be. So all in all, it's just, there's a lot of work that goes into identifying these guys, and it's not just the film. Yes, of course, the film has to have a certain level of ability, right? A certain caliber player that can help us achieve championship status. But with that, he's got to be a championship person as well. He's got to understand the value of a University of Miami education. He's got to understand how important it is for us to have a positive image all the time in the community and the impact in turn they could have on our community. So these guys really, really fit that mold. And again, we look forward to adding some more names here in the near future.
You have 8 guys from Dade and Broward in the class this year. Have you found that as you've been back in Miami for longer and longer, that recruiting those top Florida guys, it's getting easier for you, or getting just you're able to do it more efficiently because they know you, they've seen you around in South Florida?
Right. I don't think recruiting will ever get easier, and that doesn't matter as to what label you wear. The type of year, whether it was a great year, whether you didn't have a great year. I think recruiting is almost a season within itself. Now, I remember being across the country and going, man, all those players right there, but it's still about selecting the right ones, and Miami in their best years did an unbelievable job of identifying the right ones and then getting them over here. And what's happening is, you saw these guys play last year, and I mean, there's a lot of examples, right? I mean, from Wesley to Ruben Bain, Cam Kitchens, I could go on and on, that, Damari Brown. I mean, they've had Mark Fletcher, they've had so much success so early that they're your best recruiters, and not because they played, but because when they go back to their respective schools, they talk about, man, from an education standpoint, right, our academic services do blank. And from a nutritional aspect, this is what we do to get our bodies right. And then from a preparation standpoint, this is how we work, this is how we practice, this is how we train. So that right there is, it's the best form of advertising, right? I remember taking business classes right here, right? About a, 800-yard walk that way. And they always said the number one part in establishing a great business was what? Location, location, location. And the best form of advertising was what? Credit to my teachers, they kind of ingrained this in my head, was word of mouth, right? Your clientele. Well, our guys are doing great in school, they're doing great on the field, they're doing great in the community. And their families are able to see them and take part in this journey. You can't beat that combination, okay? You can't. And now as we continue to forward and progress, that becomes more and more powerful. And, hopefully it'll keep snowballing and bring even more.
Mario, quarterback Judd Anderson, he's been a little bit under the radar. What do you like about him? And also, the second part is how important is it to get a transfer QB in light of Tyler leaving?
Well, Judd Anderson impressed us from day one with a couple different things. Number one, his leadership skills, right? We saw him play basketball as well. His ability to move, make people miss, balance, body control, to be able to twist, bend, get out of just really difficult body position was impressive. And then he was relatively new at quarterback in our particular high school before he made the move to another one. And before long, you saw statistically what he did. It's hard to do that. That many yards, that type of completion percentage, that many touchdowns, natural leadership skills, and just flat out tough, like unfazed. And there's something to be said about that, right? When you're the one touching the football on every single play, it's got to show. And your teammates got to feel that, and it just oozes out of him. Very hungry, tremendous appetite for betterment. Very proud of our quarterbacks right now. We're very proud of Jakari, the way he's practiced so far, and looking forward to watching him play. And yeah, we're always looking to add to that room. We don't show our hand, in open, but you guys know we're always on the hunt.
Your wide receiver class, I know you don't look at rankings, but on paper it's a strong class.
Sure is.
Can you talk about each one of those guys, that trio you landed, and what you like about them?
Well, we always refer back to Chance, because Chance really launched this thing at the spring game, right, when he committed right there, right after it. And that caught a lot of attention. And that led to a bunch of other guys that played together growing up to turn their attention to the University of Miami. But his physicality, his development, that guy's completely changed his body over the course of the last 12 months, maybe 18 months. I mean, he looks college ready right now. Awesome family, physical, fast, strong, makes all the contested catches, just an elite player, elite person. JoJo, we've known about JoJo just like Chance for a long, long time. Again, all these guys know each other. Both these guys is, locally, it doesn't get any better than that, right? These guys they're human highlight films. You watch JoJo and some of the stuff that he's done over the past couple weeks alone, you realize that, man, this guy, like Chance, is a guy that we've been recruiting for multiple years. Across the country, I was already recruiting these guys, and now it's a reality. They signed their paperwork today. Game changers. Guys that can beat man coverage, guys that understand football, that have played since they've been knee-high, could find soft spots, and if it's not the perfect throw, they could go up and make it happen. Love it. And then Nikar, we were fortunate enough to have him when he decommitted to turn his attention this way. And he's like these guys, he's a rocket ship, extremely fast and explosive. Another guy that the ball's in the air, he's going to be the one to find a way to get it. A competitor. In the words of his coach, just like the words of the coaches over here, both Damian Jones and Roger Harriet, that, Sean Calhoun up there at Colquitt County, that all three of these guys are just relentless competitors, and they're unselfish teammates. They want the ball. Yes, they want to score. They probably want to touch the ball on every single down, but they understand the value of their teammates, and they'll block for them. They'll work hard for them in the offseason, and they just want to win. So that room just took a monster step in the right direction.
Your offense this year did a nice job of showcasing the receivers. How much do you think that was a selling point to these?
Oh, it was huge. There was so much progress, and there were 4 games where we were, where if we could have been even relatively close to our other, 8 games, our numbers would be staggering, but the jumps in production, in yards per play, yards passing, individual statistics for wide receivers, like you mentioned, distribution. I believe we had 2 of the top 3 receivers in the conference in yards per game and yards overall. So it sent a strong message that we want to play an exciting brand of football here, a physical one and an exciting one. You can combine those two, and we're getting closer and closer to that.
Along those same lines, can you just talk about Elijah Lofton and what he kind of brings? He's obviously a unique athlete, and
He does it all. You've seen him play now. That is as versatile as a football player as I have ever seen, because you watch him do everything. I mean, you watch him getting empty, and as a tight end, in motion, get in the backfield and run the football. And runs it as good as any tailback you'll watch on film. You see him stretch the field as a detached tight end and wide receiver. You see him in the core as a blocker, and then in play action protecting, as well as stretching the field vertically. Tough, tough, tough. Explosive, athletic, extreme. He's another one like Artavius, where he has just natural power and strength. A natural 300-plus power cleaner at that age, which, those things are rare. They're hard to find. So he's another guy that we feel is college-ready, and looking forward to getting him here real soon.
You're an O-line guy. Take us through your O-line group.
The O-line guys. Well, it starts with the human skyscraper, Markel Bell, right? I'm sure you guys really enjoyed seeing him. Eric Winston saw him before a game on the sideline. He was, oh my Lord, let me go over there and see this guy really is that big. So you've got Markel, you've got Nino, you've got Juan Minaya, and you've got Derek Plaz for the high school, class right there. A couple of things. Derek Plaz and Juan Minaya have served as tremendous ambassadors and recruiters for this class. Every class has one, right? Every class has a guy that's the flagship guy. That's what these guys did. These guys are athletic. I'll go one by one. Plaz, super athletic, right? Long, lean guy, 285, 290 pounds with growth potential, be 320 plus. Smart, tough, just top to bottom, exactly what you want. Minaya is a large human being, right? In the 6'5" range, on the way to 6'6", 340 pounds. Just a mauler, right? A guy at the line of scrimmage, once he fits you, he's not coming off you. Dents the line of scrimmage, runs you back, and has got really good balance. Nino, this great story, he was down here vacationing with some of his classmates, right? The prep school, extra year, and he heard Miami was having a camp, and he said, I want to go down and prove I can play. And he came down there and absolutely knocked it out the park, and we offered him soon after. Physical, smart, and he has what a center has, tremendous personality and command of a room. Just really, really bright guy, articulate, well-spoken, powerful, all right? Again, knocking out the A-gaps for a center in our offense is critically important. And then Markel Bell, the top junior college offensive lineman in the country. It's not just the size, it's the athleticism. Les George's coach is a phenomenal developer of talent and character. Markel fits the mold of the guys that he has had under his tutelage, and is another guy that, with a good winter conditioning program and a good spring football session, will be ready to help us immediately. So all in all, and again, not done there. Some of the other parts we can't comment on yet as it relates to the portal, but that's an area where we're getting closer and closer to not only the depth, but the type of quality depth that we need to sustain really high-level play.
Miami hasn't had a high school player sign in St. Thomas since 2019. You guys get 4 this year. Obviously, that's a really good program. How important was it to kind of build up? Obviously, Coach Taylor helps, I'm sure, but just to build relationships there.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's a great stat. That is a great stat right there. Twan Russell texted me this morning, and let me know that. He's an old teammate of mine and an awesome player, and one of them being, the son of a former player as well, and Rod Mack. This is like, we know the caliber of football that's played in Dade and Broward County. We know what a storied program that St. Thomas is, and right down the road, right, Chaminade as well. And you look at all the guys from the different programs, there's one thing that's relative to all of them that they have in common. They're all championship programs, right? They won at a high level. We want to be in these schools every single year, and we hope that every single year we can, have a pipeline that continually feeds the University of Miami, and that guys have tremendous success here.
Coach, you guys draft 2 running backs South Florida last year, the same this year? What would you say about those caliber guys and the speed? What would you see?
Speed and power. Our running back room is continuing to work its way to what it needs to look like. I think everyone always measures their running back room by what we had here back in 99, 2000, 2001, right? The names, McGahee and Portis and Frank Gore and James Jackson, and probably missing a couple in there, right? But yeah, Davenport, he wasn't too bad, right? Those guys were awesome. And you know what? We had some great backs here when I played as well. And these linemen are better than the lines I played on, except for Leon Searcy. He was really good. But that backfield, okay, the way it played this year, the way it developed and progressed in combination with development of a big, massive, powerful offensive line really bodes well for us to have a balanced offense. All right, again, great players down here, high level of development down here, right? We got South Broward High School and Chris Wheatley Humphrey and Jordan Lyle, again, from St. Thomas, two guys that just amassed a massive amount of yardage this year. Tough yards, open field yards, make people miss yards, catch the ball out of the backfield, really physical, really talented, really intelligent, high IQ guys, both on and off the field. Thrilled to have them.
One of the guys I don't think you mentioned yet, Darius Hayes. How did that recruitment play out? He's been to Florida for so long, and then just what does he bring?
I remember going there in January of last year. He already had been committed, and I'm like, man, I just caught a wind of his film. It's like, wow, that guy's an unbelievable player. This is a throwback linebacker, right? Because he's over 6'4", and he's 240 pounds. He's knocking people around all over the place, and it was like, that's a poor job by us. We haven't, we were late, because nowadays if you're not 2 years early, you're late. And Coach Derek Nicholson led the charge and was just unbelievable in that process, and being honest and being relentless, and built a great relationship, and had help, of course, from some of the other guys in the room, and it just kept turning and turning our way. He just really is into the direction of our program and how we do things. A private school setting was people, until they come to Miami and see Miami, they don't understand. I mean, some people, like they saw Scarface back in '88, and they think, hey, man, that's, you know what I mean? Or saw Miami Vice. It's like, come on, man, like Crockett and Tubbs are not around anymore. Everything's different, and so we always just really push, get down here and look at our campus and meet our people, and then try to beat it. And if you can beat it, more power to you. But once they come down here, it just changes their perspective. So, and that certainly was the case here, and it just grew stronger and stronger. Awesome young man, incredible energy, really physical. Going to be extremely hard to block in practice, but we're okay with that. He's going to be on our side playing.
Coach, you mentioned that Miami's at its best when guys from Miami stay home. As you continue adding those pieces to your roster, how excited does that make you about the future of your program?
Come on, man. Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Palm Beach, South Florida. I mean, look, we're not strictly only a South Florida program, but it's important that the best players down here do stay home, right? Why? Because I guess if Miami didn't offer, the University of Miami did not offer an unbelievable education, if the University of Miami did not offer elite administrators, elite support staff, if it did not offer elite opportunities in life after football, if it didn't offer elite facilities and resources, then I understand why maybe you should go far away. But when you could do it right here, in front of your family, in front of the people you've been playing in front of since you were this tall, and affect the community and have impact, how many times in your life are you going to be able to have that kind of an impact? That's like a real thing. And it's deeper than just football. This is an entire community tied into this thing. And so it's incredibly powerful. It creates a lot of momentum. I think we're seeing that, and we don't see it slowing down anytime soon. So, class of 25 and 26 work has been going full throttle, right, which will carry, it's been all morning with that and pushes beyond, and we expect to get better and better.
Mario, I have a three-part question for you, because I know you hate one-part questions. It's all related to the same thing, though. First of all, congrats on a great recruiting class. But
is that part one?
No, that's a statement.
Sure.
So the portal quarterback situation. A, do you want someone committed by the new year, you don't have to write it down, you'll remember it.
No, I'm not gonna. I'm deciding which parts to answer and which not to answer.
If you want someone, and you think someone will be committed by the new year, portal QB wise, is it a must to have a portal QB enrolled for the spring? And the third part is just how Emory Williams is and if he'll be back for the spring as of now.
See, I already answered this question. I answered in the form of we're always looking to enhance our roster and get better, so we're good to go. Appreciate you though. Merry Christmas.
You spoke about Zaquan earlier.
Yes, sir.
The other defensive backs, if you could touch on them, and then most of them played safety, but any position flexibility, maybe some corner, or how do you kind of envision the other?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, we're still hunting down a bunch of guys, okay? Some have played safety and safety linebacker, and some are really big where those bodies might naturally grow. Isaiah Thomas from Ontario, he got hurt this year. He's a long, athletic safety that also plays in the box. And, nowadays, if you play that boundary safety spot, you're like a will linebacker, So he has position flexibility. Dylan Day, what a year he's had. And he's played it all. He plays the middle of the field. He plays down in the box. He plays out as a nickel, the field corner, the boundary corner, does it all. And he's like a rolling 10, 700-meter guy that can flat out. He can fly. So he's got a ton of flexibility, awesome family, just like Isaiah. OJ, who transferred to St. Thomas this past year, played offense and he played defense. Most of these guys do. They play both sides. He's played corner for the most part, just like Ryan Mack, both these guys, and I'll go individually. OJ, again, just great hips, feet, speed, recoverability, excellent, awesome family. Ryan Mack, very athletic, tough, physical, has played ball and played that position and been going against JoJo and those guys like his entire life. So he understands the position really well, extremely savvy, athletic, fast, prototype that you want at the position. We talked about Zaquan already. You know how we feel about him. Who else? Where am I at? Where am I at? Well, see, Cam is a linebacker. I know that he was listed here because he was at 200 pounds. This shows you his athletic ability. He plays wide receiver, okay, and he's had unbelievable success there. He's played in the middle of the field as a safety. He's played just outside the box, and he's also played in the middle. He's played on the edge. All right. If you want to watch the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star game and watch this guy strike people. This guy's something else now. He's like a human missile, and he does it on special teams as well. So, but I would think of him more in the linebacker category. Does that make sense? Okay. And all right, Cam's got this all screwed up here a little bit. 3, 4, 5. Okay. Did I get him up? All right.
Special team.
Give it to me.
The last one is Murray. You spoke about everyone else. You speak on the kicker.
Abram?
Yep.
Yeah, he came out here. It was the best story ever for a commitment now. This is like, so Abram, he comes to camp, and he's hitting 62 yarders. I'm like, this guy's an NFL guy working out, or what? What's he doing here? And I get word, we have an event, and we end up over by the pool, where we just host and hang out and all that other stuff. And the coach told me, I think this guy wants to commit. And I'm like, well, he's really good. We should take him in a year, and he might be gone to the NFL or may have an extra year, but he's too good to pass up. So he was offered a scholarship, and he's sitting there with his family. And so I'm walking up to introduce myself, and man, the guy, he just walks right up and he goes, Coach, I'm committed to Miami, and just that's it. And so we recognize him as the world record fastest commitment in Miami history. I never had a chance to sit down and give my University of Miami spiel. So, but awesome young man, just really, really talented. And I think what makes him really good is that he's unfazed. Like his demeanor, his work ethic. He's a great tennis player as well. Just very athletic. It's just a powerful leg. This guy's an automatic touchback. I told you the range that he showed us in camp. We're really glad to have him.
You've been a lot of places where stacking top 10 classes year after year after year after year is the norm and leads to success.
Right.
What can you say about the importance of that being a piece of the success and building things?
It starts with your roster. It starts with people. I do a lot of research when we put this stuff together. I think Miami, you have to do